A very good morning. I don't know if it's me. I'm wearing my sister's big coat, which is more like a quilt or like a sleeping bag than an actual coat. Rain has ceased falling. It's warm enough to walk. There's no breeze blowing. The breeze tends to make a difference. Like last time when I was coming back from training, it suddenly, like in the space of an hour, it turned really cold. So I decided to wear the coat anyway. It's not waterproof, but worst case scenario, if the rain comes down, then I'll just jump on a bus and that will take me practically to the front door of the fitness studio. Anyways, it's funny, but my legs don't tend to get cold. It's just my upper body, so I'm wearing my hoodie. Obviously, I've got my exercise gear on my hoodie, as well as the coat. But, so I can walk around in shorts in the middle of winter, and it wouldn't make a difference to how I feel. My legs would be cold, in other words. Right, but that's not what I am here to talk about. I want to talk about the joys of being your own person. So I went out Saturday night, and it's been a while since I had an opportunity to actually not just go out, but to dress up. And in saying dress up, I wasn't properly dressed up as such, because the only footwear that I have access to really are these trainers that I'm wearing right now. So whatever I put on needs to work with the trainers. But what was interesting, because this place I went to on Saturday, I would not necessarily frequent, but I used to go on a Friday night during the summer. And of course, you had some summer nights when it was really hot. So I'd just be wearing like belly top and shorts and my camouflage bandana with my hair in two bunches. So it was interesting that when I turned up looking different, more in keeping with how I used to look before I inherited my sister before lockdown, one of the security guys said to me, "Oh, you've gone and switched up." Presumably, he meant that I've changed my look. This is a conversation that I've been having with people for, I would say, the better part of 15 years. Yes, the better part of 15 years. Since really I started, if you like, using the internet. In other words, I have pictures, from articles that I've done in newspapers and magazines. So, for reference, I didn't say anything to him. I just sort of smiled and, exchanged pleasantries. But the assumption, because I walk around dressed like this, more often if you see me, this is how I'm dressed. People would assume that however they meet you, that's how you are. But my default setting is I like to wear pretty dresses and 6-inch heels. And the 6-inch heels I can get away with because I am not all of that much gifted in the height department. I'm 5 feet half an inch, so I can wear as high heels as I like. So that was the point. So people assume that how they see you is how you are. So the way that you present yourself, what you're wearing, that is a reflection of who you are. So what better way to disguise yourself? And I mean, when I first started wearing a hoodie, it was to blend in so that I could get by, just fit in with the locals, if you like. And it might sound like I'm stereotyping people, but I'm sure you know what I mean. Anyways, there's a difference between standing out and blending in. Sometimes it is necessary to blend in. Other times it's necessary to stand out. So I'm going to talk about the standing out perspective. Sometimes when you stand out, people don't like it. So that's when it is wise to try to blend in. Not because you're a coward or because not because you're a coward or because you're afraid of offending people or whatever. More so, it's about the energy, because you can't control the energy that comes back at you. You can control the energy that you give out, but you can't control the energy that comes back at you. And what is the point of expending energy trying to deflect bad energy? There is no point. So therein is the sense in me walking around wearing a hoodie, because the only energy that I may get is people looking at me in a funny kind of way, like, oh, look at her, she's always wearing that hoodie. I've got to show you this. Look at, can you see the water? I'm wondering if the Tesco is going to be closed, because unless they've sorted out the drainage, because there was one time when it rained really heavily, and it wasn't so much flooded, but you wouldn't have been able to access it. It looks like they've sorted it out. Well done. Right, so where was I? Yeah, so the whole point is, oh gosh, it's about applying wisdom. So don't always have to go, it's a bit like during the war when they had the blackout. You didn't say, well, I don't care about the enemy, I'm going to keep my lights on, because you get the hell bombed out of you. That's what would have been likely to happen. The enemy wouldn't turn around and say, let's not bomb that house because they've got a light shining in the window. So that's the point. But I wanted to say as well, the freedom, just going out by myself, being able to do as I please, really. So, so to walk back by myself, just to have the freedom of being without being accountable to anyone besides God. Obviously, depends on your belief system. But my thing is, I try to keep myself right with God, in a sense that if I don't protect myself, then He has no reason to protect me. So, like for example, I don't do Halloween, I don't do yearly traditions, but I listened to a video while I was sewing a few days before Halloween, and the person who, the uploader, the content provider, the YouTuber, I think, if I'm correct, he is a former Satanist, and he warns of what the various different holidays and traditions are really about. But in sort of talking about Halloween, he went on to say that if people do intend to do it, talking about Christians, if they do intend to do Halloween, that they should pray to God for protection. And I mean, this is where you need to apply common sense. Why would God protect you if you do something foolish? So for example, this month of November, the clocks have gone back an hour, which means it gets darker earlier. And I've already talked about being inconspicuous, wearing the hoodies sort of like to blend in. But I prefer to go walking in the dark, whether it's early in the morning or late at night. But because it gets dark by 5, 6 o'clock, it means I can go walking earlier, whereas in the summer, it doesn't get dark until after 9, even close to 10. So it's been raining and really strong winds blowing. And logically speaking, I've been out walking before in the rain, because if you need to go out, if you've got things to do, then you've got things to do. That's how that works. But it would be unwise to say I'm going out for fitness and ask God for protection when I can see that the weather outside isn't conducive to walking. You could go out there and a tree could blow down on top of you or something, and then that would be the ultimate in irony. You go walking for fitness only to meet with an accident or death. What point would your fitness be then when you're dead, kind of thing? So I just I'm all over the place slightly with this one. But it is that, it's free will. That is what it's about, really. It's about having the ability to make choices. Not just to make choices, but to make sensible choices that bring joy and happiness. So, on a day like this, it's raining very lightly. It's not pouring down, but I had options. As I said, I could have jumped on a bus. It is 11 degrees, but it's nowhere near as cold as I imagined it would be. The reason being that, good morning. The reason being that the wind isn't blowing. But last night, at the time that I would have been deciding to go for a walk, it was lashing down, and the breeze was blowing like there was a hurricane outside. So wisdom dictated that I keep my ass quiet. And this morning, as I said, I had options. I could have got on the bus, come hell or high water. I would have gone training. I've got loads of time before my training session starts. So I can, the speed that I'm walking, I don't need to speed walk. But whatever exercise, whatever walking I might have planned to do tonight, this will count as that. And also, if the weather is pleasant, when I say pleasant, if it's like this on the way back, then I can use that. It's like a mile back to where my sister lives. I can walk back, and that will count as 2 sessions of walking, because the aim was, it wasn't about walking long distances, it was just to get my legs moving. So it wasn't, probably no more than half an hour per evening, just to keep the legs turning over. So, in real terms, not necessarily in real terms, but I guess the bottom line is, what I'm not able to do, and this applies to all, if I'm in a position where I'm willing to do something, but circumstances dictate that it would be unwise to do it, that is when I have the right to go to God and ask Him to give me grace, to be lenient with me, because if it was a wise thing to do, I would have done it. But as I said, it's not wise to go out in the wind and the rain when you know, you never know what could happen. So that's it. But yes, I'm loving the freedom of being able to exercise my free will. And I mean, as far as I can, because obviously I still have the responsibility of my sister, which doesn't, I guess the times that I feel the weight of it is when I'm really busy, and I still have to do everything that she requires doing for her on a daily basis, irrespective of whether I'm tired, whether I'm busy, whether I'm sick. But thank God I don't get sick that often. But it doesn't stop. That is the only time that I would argue that I don't have free will. I mean, ultimately I could go pick myself up and leave her to somebody else, or to God's mercy or whatever. I could do that, but given that I'm not wicked on that level, it isn't something that I would do. And I do expect at some point in time to get all my freedoms back. Whatever the situation is with her and the slowness of her recovery, that is between her and God, not me. But in the meantime, all I can do is plow on. So that's it. I know, like when I do my videos, it's all me, I. But the best examples are personal examples. So I shared a picture this morning of Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo, who's now 46 years old, and he's a shadow of his former self. And I captioned it that this is like symptomatic of lifestyle, and that I'm 10.5 years older than him. And then I dared someone to accuse me of fat shaming him, because we're not allowed to say anything like that. But as you see, and I'm almost there now, I am on my way to my training session. So irrespective of life's demands, so I'm walking under a bridge and some water it's like someone just pitched water on me. Thanks. Yeah, so irrespective of life's demands, the demands of looking after my sister and so forth, I made a decision that I was going to go training regardless, because bottom line is, all you have is your health when it comes down to it. Just your health. So I'm going to end that here, and I will wish you all a very good day. Look after yourselves. Goodbye.